Hey bookaholics, so welcome back to another video. Today I have the finally fall bookish tag. Now I am a winter girly, so I'm not quite so fall obsessed as most people because I live in the Mediterranean and fall is not actually all that cold. But at least it means we're one step closer to winter. So let's celebrate that by doing this tag. I am doing this on the fly, so I am literally just gonna have to editing me is going to hate me. I'm literally just gonna have to stick the pictures of the books up here instead. I'm going to try and fill out this tag. I've done it before, but I'm going to try and do it only with books that I have read this year to make sure that I'm not repeating answers, etc. Let's do this. Let's pull up some questions. Question 1 is, in fall, the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. For this one, I have gone with Sorrowland by River Solomon. This was one of my favourite books of the year so far. It was definitely one of my favourite books of October, and I'm really glad that I read it. I love River Solomon's writing style. They have such a way with words that get straight to the point and yet somehow still feels very lyrical. Like every word is really well calculated. I love their prose. I love the way that they convey what they're trying to say in such a visceral way. Like I never struggle to imagine what they're putting forth, even when it's really random and bizarre. So yeah, definitely got to be Sorrowland. Question 2 is, nature is beautiful but also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written but that has a difficult topic like loss or grief. For this one, I have an entire book that is essentially dedicated to both loss and grief, and that is a self-published anthology that is called The Alchemy of Sorrow. Some of my favourite authors are in that anthology. I love this book so much. It's a 5-star anthology for me, which is unheard of because normally short stories never quite hit home for me. But oh my god, it was such a beautiful story. It was so well crafted. It was put together so nicely, and some of these authors have a couple more anthologies coming out. They have The Anatomy of Fear. Some of them are in The Anatomy of Fear, and some of them are going to also be in The Advent of Winter. And I cannot wait because although anthologies aren't normally my thing, just the way these stories felt so perfect for being a short story. One of the problems I normally have with short stories is that it feels like someone has taken a story that could have been much larger and just kept it short, and it feels almost like they've just not given it enough breathing room because they needed a short story, so they were like, oh well, here's this concept that I have. I didn't feel that with any of these stories. They felt perfectly self-contained in these bite-sized pieces, and it was absolutely fantastic. And if you are okay with reading about these topics, about grief and about loss, then it's definitely worth reading. Question 3 is, fall is back to school season. So share a non-fiction that has taught you something new. The only non-fiction that I can think of this year that has been like top tier reading for me was The Five by Hallie Rubenhold. I, like many, really appreciated this book. I really liked what it was conveying and the way that it presented the lives of the 5 women that were murdered by Jack the Ripper. It made it about the victims, it made it about the women, and it made it about the way that society let these women down, both in their lives and then following their death, and it made human beings out of these women, and I really appreciated that. Number 4 is, in order to keep warm, it is a good time to spend with the people we love. And this one is, name a fictional family, household or friendship group that you would like to be part of. For that one, it's got to be the group of people from Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. I read that this year. Buddy read it with my friend Eleanor. Buddy reading a book that is about a found family friendship, top tier. Had a really good time reading it, and also really loved the friendship dynamic. The group of people that we have in that story is just so heartwarming, and it's such a ragtag group of people, but not in your typical way. And I had such a good time with it, and I really wish I was part of that friendship group, especially because they have a bone dog. Question 5 is, colourful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall coloured spines. No. Not moving. I'm too tired. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. I have got that planned as one of my either Instagram or TikToks at some point, so I will be doing it, just not right now. Number 6 is, the perfect time for storytelling is by the fireside. Share a book where someone is telling the story. For this one, I'm going to go with the memoirs of Lady Trent. After all, they are told in a fictional memoir style, so it made sense because it's literally the deliberate nature of the stories. I really loved this series. It's an absolutely banging series, book after book. I have a dedicated review to it where I talk about each individual book in a spoiler-free manner. So if you want to go check that out, I will leave it linked because it's such an amazing series and it deserves so much appreciation. So yeah, I had a really good time with that one, and the way that it's crafted as a memoir, and you have her interjecting her thoughts, how they've changed over the years, like how she's come to see things with a different perspective. Just a fantastic story. And it's really well told, and it really suited its narrative style. Number 7 is The Nights Are Getting Darker. Share a dark and creepy read. Now, creepy. I am going to go with a very atmospheric, very unsettling book. And for a long time, you don't know why it's so unsettling. It's just unsettling. And that is Lone Women by Victor LaValle. I first heard of this over on Angela's channel from the Literature Science Alliance. And it was such interesting recommendation. Now, this is not a new favorite for me. I'm very picky with my horror, but very atmospheric, very unsettling, really, really well written. You cannot fault Victor LaValle's writing. He is an incredible writer and a real craftsman with his storytelling, and it was very unsettling, and you don't even know why you're unsettled. You just know something is off, and it's really well done. So if you're wanting horror that is a bit more unusual, I definitely recommend that one. Number 8 is The Days Are Getting Colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm up somebody's cold and rainy day. For this one, I'm going to go with The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy by Megan Bannon. This one is a fantasy romance that is a You've Got Mail retelling. I had such a good time with it. I gave it 5 stars, not because it's a perfect read, but because it did what it set out to do perfectly. So like, the book is not perfect, but it achieved all of its goals perfectly, and it gets a 10 out of 10 for that. Like, I flipping loved it. So yeah, I had an amazing time with that book. I really like You've Got Mail. I love all of I'm not really much of a contemporary rom-com girly. I much prefer like 90s rom-coms, like, you know, anything with Julia Roberts or Meg Ryan in it, I'm probably gonna watch it, or like any of the really soppy Hugh Grant ones. Like, that's my vibe. So yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. So then having a fantasy version of it was fantastic. It had fantastic representation in it. That's another one that I definitely could have put for. I really wish I was part of that family, because Mercy's family is amazing. And yeah, I had a really good time with that book, and it made me feel all warm and fuzzy and make me pretend slightly like I am not just an old crotchety old woman. So yeah, if you're going to come away with just a fun recommendation, it's got to be that one. Number 9 is Fall Returns Every Year. Name a old favorite that you would like to reread. I'm not really in a rereading mood at the moment. I mean, there are books that I will always want to reread. Like, I would happily delve right back into the realm of the Elderlings. I love The Night Circus and The Starless Sea. I would happily reread The Broken Earth, Who Fears Death. Like, there are so many that I would happily reread, but there is none that I am at the moment just like craving, oh my god, I specifically want to reread this book. And number 10 is Fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessories. I don't really have any. I mean, I have bookmarks. I have some nice bookmarks, but doesn't everyone in the reading community? Like, I have coffee. I have chocolate coffee, to be specific. I don't have one on me at the minute because, as I said, I did this on the fly. I have really nice blanket. I have like a big fluffy blanket that I have on my reading chair here. So coffee and blanket, I guess. Same as everyone. I'm a basic bitch. Like, I'm not particularly exciting. You may have noticed. But yeah, that's all. That's all of the questions. So that was fun. I got to talk about some books that I haven't talked about in a while, and I got to hype up some books that I have read recently that I can annoy you with a little bit more. So that was fun. I had a good time. I hope that you have enjoyed, and I hope that you will return at some point. But yeah, that is all for me for today. So thank you ever so much for watching, and I will hopefully catch you in another one soon. Bye!